Hello, welcome to Venture Capital. This week, we'll be taking a closer look at the relationship between politics and economics. US President Barack Obama was in Asia, pledging his loyalty to Japan over tensions with China. Meanwhile, Russia and China continue to strengthen their business relationship as the threat of sanctions looms on. We'll also discuss other opportunities in Asia for Russian business now that there's a look east focus. In-house investor Tim Kirby will take us for a spin, and mystery of the Bitcoin creator was almost discovered this week, but the revelation turned out to be nearly as tumultuous as the stock itself. But first then, the fine line between politics and economics has never been so faint. Geopolitics and the financial implications of countries' boundaries, as well as Western sanctions, is changing and influencing trade relationships. The dispute about Crimea, which the West refers to as a land grab, while Russia believes the region has always been part of the country, has brought about the threat of economic sanctions against Russia, which could have a catastrophic impact financially, not just on Russia, but Europe too. But this threat has meant a cozy up to China. There are two multi-billion-dollar deals in the pipeline, which include a 30-year Russian gas supply deal, and the second one is to build a deep water port in Crimea, which could act as a new transport corridor from Asia to Europe. Meanwhile, Obama has been in Asia for a tour, and while there has pledged his support to Japan in its ongoing territorial dispute with China. So, in terms of economics and trade, could all these geopolitical squabbles be changing the face of global trade? Well, OK, we're going to ask a venture capital favourite, David Kuo from Motley Fool, to see what he thinks. David, do you think the future of global trade is West v East then?
I think, Katie, it's always been a case of East versus West, because if you have a look at the dynamics of the global economy, over in the West you tend to have much larger, slower-growing economies, slower-growing countries, whereas in the East you tend to have much faster-growing, smaller countries. So I think it's always been a case of East versus West, and for somebody like myself who's actually been in the East and also been in the West, I can actually sort of tell the difference between the dynamics between the two halves of the globe.
Where does Russia go then? Because obviously it's always had very strong trade partnerships with Europe, but now we've got a shift towards Asia, specifically China. Is that the way forward for Russia, given the threat of sanctions at the moment? We've got a gas deal pending. Is it all about Russia and China now moving forward?
When I looked at the possibility of sanctions and more sanctions coming through against Russia, it's almost a case of, you know, when you shut one door, another one opens elsewhere. So really, as far as sanctions are concerned, yes, it is going to damage Russia temporarily, but then Russia will have to start looking elsewhere to see where it can actually sort of sell the goods that it makes. I mean, ultimately, Russia needs to grow, and growth at the moment is fairly anemic, so therefore it needs to find a partner very quickly to export the goods that it has. I mean, there are only four ways in which a country can grow, and one of the four is exports. And if it looks over to the east, it will suddenly find that there is China there. China needs energy, China needs oil, China needs gas, and that is something that Russia has an abundance of. So therefore, you know, it has a ready-made customer just across the other side of the border. So I think, you know, if it's not going to sell to the West, then it will certainly have to start selling its wares, particularly energy, over to China.
And I suppose in terms of pollution, energy and trade, Russia can help out in moving China away from its dependency on coal.
Oh, absolutely right, because, I mean, coal is highly polluting, and China is already realizing that its people, the Chinese people, are not really happy with the idea that, you know, its air is getting polluted, the water is getting polluted, and the land is getting polluted. So again, you know, we sort of go back to what does China want? China wants clean energy, and that is something that Russia can provide. So I think you have this sort of ready-made relationship between the two countries. China will be able to buy gas at a low price from Russia, and it will be able to sort of kill two birds with one stone, so to speak.
David Quay from Motley Fool, thank you for speaking to us. It's a topic we could talk about all day long. We appreciate your time as usual. David Quay speaking to us there for Venture Capital today. Also this week, Moscow played host to a bunch of delegates from the Asia-Pacific region for a banking event. As we know, Russia is strengthening ties with China, but what about the rest of the region? Well, China may be a good ally to have, but another powerful economic force is India. The two countries are already part of the BRIC gang, and I caught up with one of India's banking chiefs here in Moscow at the event, and I asked what industries between the fellow BRIC countries are already in touch.
Pharmaceuticals is one very big area, and Indian companies can really encourage and support Russian companies to manufacture medicines. Similarly, in India also, we welcome a lot of Russian companies which can support a dialogue in oil and natural gas and other petroleum. There is a large presence of Indian ONGC in Russia, and they have also worked on a SME, on a medium-sized enterprise near Tomsk. So there are many areas of mutual cooperation and trade in textiles and other service sector, the ITC, telecom companies, and so there is a vast range where India-Russia trade is already developing, and we hope it will further increase in the coming years.
And the US dollar's usage in global trade has long been disputed, and there was plenty of talk about the prospect of using Russia's ruble and China's yuan more for trade between the two countries to avoid dependence on the US dollar, or even the euro for that matter. But as far as the future is concerned, another suggestion was put forward by a Canadian business delegate: digital currencies.
I suspect in the next decade we're all going to electronic money. So currencies are going to be a chip on your phone.
Bitcoin, what's your opinion there?
A good idea, a little bit young still because it's not regulated. It's a completely unregulated commodity. Swings of 500 points in an afternoon for no apparent reason. So it's a young currency, it may grow, but there's no oversight on it. It's a free market like the Wild Wild West was.
So it needs developing.
It needs to actually grow. And there needs to be some oversight in regulating the trading of Bitcoin.
And the mystery surrounding the identity of the Bitcoin creator has been broken. Well, almost. Anyway, Dorian Satoshi Nakamoto was unveiled by Newsweek as the founder of the digital currency, but later appeared in a YouTube video to deny that he created it at all. Now, he was named the face behind Bitcoin on the cover of the American magazine, but the Japanese-American retired engineer denied any such invention and has had to endure being chased throughout LA by journalists ever since because of this false revelation. So this still begs the question, where is the Bitcoin creator? Well, the search does indeed go on. But first of all, let's get cracking on with our corporate news for this week. And, well, it started out with the week ending with a blow for Russia from credit rating agency Standard & Poor's. S&P has reduced Russia's foreign currency rating to a notch above junk status. The decision came as capital leaves Russia in the wake of tension in Ukraine. Russia responded immediately by raising its key interest rate from 7% to 7.5% to support the ruble and the risk of high inflation. And it looks like talks between Russia's Gazprom and Austria have begun again over the construction of the South Stream. CEO Alexei Miller met with his Austrian counterpart to discuss the possibility of building an extension of the pipeline. And staying with Gazprom then, the gas major has unveiled the new Arctic crude blend called Arco. The blend comes from the Arctic field in the northwest Russia. The oil will cost less than the main Russian export Urals blend as its quality is lower. Moving on, a new BMW factory is to be built in Kaliningrad. Production is planned to begin as early as 2016. The BMW factory is the first step to turning the far western region into an automobile cluster that is expected to integrate 21 new car plants. Now let's join Tim Kirby over on the business desk to see what he's been up to, because you lost money last week, a rarity for you. You've had such a successful experience in your whole wheel expedition. So what happened and what's happened now?
Well, 2 weeks ago, I got Sberbank, and last week I got the waste money option, which means I was stuck with Sberbank and I had to blow $100 on something stupid. So, we've got plenty of pizza here at the RT office. In fact, Katie, I hope you like the stench of cheese, because there's 10 large pizzas waiting for you in your office.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, so I don't know what we're going to do with them. But anyways, this week I'm so mad at Sberbank, and I've had them for 2 weeks, I'm getting rid of them. And let's see who I'm going to invest all of my money in this week. I can't believe I lost $1,000 last week. $1,000. Oh, it's Wimbledon, or as it's written in Russian, Vim Bil Dan. And that is dairy products of various sort, like yogurt and sour cream and the like. And guess what? People in Russia love that stuff, so it's got to do well.
Yeah, they do actually. Russians love their dairy, that's for sure. And let's just clarify, spending your money on pizza is not a waste, Tim, whatsoever.
Well,
in fact,
there's only the two of us, so well, I say there's 2 of us and 10 pizzas, so, well, who knows? We'll get some of the camera guys to come over, we'll have a party.
If they're lucky. All right, Tim, best of luck. As I say, you did lose out this week. It was 1,000, wasn't it, in total? So bit of a negative week for you. But, hey, let's go for dairy and see what happens, Tim.
All right.
All right, Tim Kirby, our dynamite investor who is still in positive territory by a far. So well done to you.
Okay.
So Tim made a loss this week. Is the beginning of a slippery slope? Has it begun? Well, has his luck run out? Well, tune in next week and find out. In the meantime, have a great one. I'm going to go get myself some of that cheesy pizza. Goodbye.